My brothers, how you doing? You already know who it is. Today we cannot kick our feet up. We cannot get something cold to drink. Not on this one. Brace yourselves. I apologize ahead of time because this will be very cringy. Let's get into this article and see what they're telling us that we should be doing in order to be real men instead of toxic men. While I get into this article, please look at the picture in front of you so that you may see the real men telling you how to be more like them. Especially the guy with the gray shirt on that is sitting between the guy in the blue shirt's leg. Yeah. It's titled Men's Cuddling Group Aims to Redefine Masculinity and Heal Trauma. Twice a month, a dozen men gather in Plymouth meeting to help each other work through past traumas. Their chosen method of healing, cuddle. It may seem odd, but members of the Men's Therapeutic Cuddle Group says the practice has helped them cope with everything from childhood sexual abuse to loss of family members when they were young. The 2-year-old group draws men from various backgrounds. A 37-year-old Mormon who works as an airport gate agent, a 57-year-old married father of 3, a 62-year-old retiree. Now watch the slip up, gentlemen. They say this: there is a range of sexual orientations. That is a quote. Now, mind you, they are selling this group as a straight men's group. And every guy they just mentioned, regardless of age variations and religious background, is supposed to be straight. But the author of the article went ahead and said there is a range of sexual orientations. Okay. At a time when traditional ideas of manhood are facing scrutiny, and such terms as toxic masculinity are becoming more widely known through the Me Too movement, the group aims to provide new ways for men to express themselves. So often we're taught that to be an emotional stoic is the mark of manhood, said Scott Turner, a 46-year-old interior designer and co-founder of the group. If you show any emotional weakness or vulnerability, that's a failure to your title as a man. But if we expect men to be emotionally sensitive to the needs of others, they first need to be able to build an emotional vocabulary, he said. Of course, that phrase, gentlemen, implies that men are not emotionally sensitive towards our children, our wives, our mothers, our fathers, or anyone, unless we look like we're completely gay or we behave like a woman. In other words, they do not respect our way of expressing emotions unless it is their way of doing it. Let's keep reading. Part of that involves learning that physical touch extends beyond aggression or sex. Platonic affection can be a doorway to emotional closeness. It's not the end of what we're doing, Turner said. It's part of a larger toolbox of healing. Unlike professional cuddling services, which are gaining popularity in cities across the United States, the group charges no fees and members are not required to undergo training. Although meetups are not open to the public, members must be interviewed and approved. The group held a demonstration for the Inquirer, which is the magazine presenting this article, the Inquirer. At the beginning of the session, everyone agreed not to engage in sexual touch. I would hope so, since everyone is straight. And to ask for consent before each action. The gathered in the huddle They gathered in the huddle, and breathe meditatively. So basically, a group of guys get together, they huddle up and start blowing in each other's faces. Now, I'm not saying men don't face trauma, my brothers, but I believe there's a better way to handle that. And I'm sure every straight man in here who is truly comfortable with their sexuality, because apparently the phrase being comfortable with your sexuality means to be borderline homosexual. Okay? So let's make sure we get things right here. Okay? There's a better way to do it besides loving soy and breathing in each other's faces and cuddling like you see there in the picture. The cuddling started with men pairing up to do the motorcycle holding. The motorcycle holding, okay, in which one man sits with his back against another man's chest, as if they were riding together on a motorcycle. Some massaged their partner's shoulder or hands, while others stroked the other person's beard. Yeah, not happening. Many closed their eyes as the room fell into silence. After 15 minutes, they switched to a new partner. For the second half of the session, the men cuddled as one large group in what they call a puppy pile. Men lay with their heads in each other's laps, chatted and joked. It's meant to be a space where men feel safe sharing their innermost thoughts, said Kevin Eisenberger, 57, who founded the group with Turner. That can be challenging in other areas of their lives, where they are expected to be the strong provider. In the group, they learn it's okay to be a little fractured, Eisenberger said. Yeah, hold on to that right there. All right, let's keep diving deeper into this filth. The article reads, the importance of vulnerability. As a child, T.J. McDonald was molested by a neighbor. He didn't tell anyone, ashamed he'd done something wrong. For years, he kept his distance from others. I never connected with people very well, even my siblings said. McDonald, now 62, living in Montgomery County, getting therapy and attending a supporting group helped, but McDonald credited the men's cuddling group for teaching him that emotional intimacy and physical touch aren't always abusive. It allowed me to experience what good friendships are, what brothers are, he said, and that's a quote. Another member, Ryan Hancock, if you couldn't make anything worse, you called the dude Hancock, talking about a cuddle group, but let's keep going, all right? Has become like a son to McDonald. Hancock's children even call McDonald Grandpa. Guys, that's unhealthy, okay? There's a better way to handle trauma. We cannot turn men away from what men are supposed to be. This is not masculine. I have completely lost all hopes in the West. But let's keep reading. These types of groups can be healthy and helpful for men and women, said Chris Liang, a licensed psychologist and associate professor of counseling psychology at Lehigh University. Liang researches the effect of masculinity on health and was part of a board that helped the American Psychological Association, the APA, formulate new guidelines on working with boys and men. The guidelines highlight ways in which traditional views of masculinity, such as men are tough and never cry, harm their emotional and physical health. Studies show that men who strongly believe in masculine norms are less likely to get preventive health care, more likely to drink heavily and use tobacco, and more likely to hold negative attitudes towards seeking mental health services. Right. Anyway, many men never learn healthy ways to deal with stress, Liang said. Then it can emerge in harmful ways. According to the APA, men commit 90% of homicides in the U.S. and represent 77% of homicide victims. They're also more than 3 times as likely as women to die by suicide, and their expectancy to nearly 5 years shorter, largely because of both violence and health impact of stress. Of course, in their view, this has nothing to do with this toxic femininity. It has something to do with toxic masculinity. We're just aggressive wild beasts that kill everybody. Of course. Let's keep reading. Liang hopes that such groups as the Cuddling Meetup can help men move beyond one's restricted definition of masculinity. Although those who with more serious concerns may want to seek therapy, he said, if this is something that's more comfortable for men, then it can do a whole lot of good. A growing movement of men's support. Yeah, growing indeed, because I read this in another article where men were getting erections in the group and they thought it was normal. So yeah, it may be a growing movement, pun intended. When Kevin Eisenberger was 11, his 7-year-old brother died. Growing up, Eisenberger didn't spend much time with his father. The two had little in common. Both experiences left Eisenberger without a role model to show him what it meant to be a man. It led me to believe I was less than, he said, that I wasn't manly. In 2008, he discovered a group called the Mankind Project, MKP, which would help him overcome that feeling. Founded by about 30 years ago, MKP is a nonprofit focused on building male community through more than 900 support groups in dozens of countries. We want men to come in and figure out what their ideal of manhood is, said Boyens Hodgson, communication director of MPK in the U.S. It's not something that can be imposed or prescribed to men. The group doesn't focus on cuddling, but it does promote the idea of being open and vulnerable with other men. Open and vulnerable to other men. Bear with me, brothers, bear with me. Let's keep going. Asking for affection, asking for time, asking for help from other men is scary, Hodgson said, but it's a very important skill for men to learn. Now, brothers, don't we ask each other for help on the manosphere every day? Don't we help each other every day? Are we motorcycle sitting? Are we cuddling? Are we breathing in each other's faces? I don't think so. Isn't it still masculine? Yes, it is. Is it toxic? I don't think so. Anyway, studies published in 2010 and 2014 found that participating in MPK programming improved men's psychological well-being for up to 2 years. And let me guess, after that, they're making love to each other? Let's keep going. For Eisenberger, MKP helped him realize that wanting a connection with other men and seeking their acceptance was okay. It led him to start the Cuddling group. Now he receives about 2 requests a week from people looking to join the meetup. A man amongst men, of course. It's so manly, right? At the Cuddling group demonstration, Ryan Hancock absent-mindedly touched T.J. McDonald's ear. Later, McDonald squeezed in between Turner and Eisenberger, laying on the floor, calling himself the cream in the cookie. In this setting, touch was no more notable than asking about someone's day. Some men teared up as others discussed their regrets as fathers, others playful. At the end of the session, the group hurdled and took turns completing the phrase, "As a man amongst men, I feel grateful." Turner said. "Worthy of connection," Hancock said. McDonald going last said, "Love accepted and included." Now, did I tell you guys men were getting boners, erections? And they said that it was normal for men to get erections while cuddling with each other, while sitting in motorcycle style on each other's backs. Nothing like a pair of balls resting on your lower back to be masculine. Look, if you need help, get it. If you have a psychological disorder, if you've been molested, if you're dealing with depression, get professional help. Get spiritual, clinical psychological help, whatever helps you. But turning masculinity into a pile of mushy rainbow cake with sprinkles on top with extra whipped cream is not the way. This is out of control. Western civilization will collapse if it continues this way. America probably will lead that way if parts of Western Europe doesn't do it first. Because they're coming out with things that are immoral, unethical, simply inspired by demonic entities or just plain psychological disorders that are undiagnosed. I don't even know what to say about this, but from a man that doesn't cuss much, what the fuck? This your boy, Mr. Limber, and I have this to say regarding this article.
Hell to the no, to the no, 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 no. Hell, no, no, to the no, no. Hell to the no, no.